Okay, now the anal canal. The anal canal is situated below the level of the pelvic diaphragm. It lies in the anal triangle of the perineum in between the right and the left ischio-anal fossa. Okay, so the circulation and the tinea are absent here. Okay, so circulation is absent in the rectum because this circulation and the ostration and the tinea coli are ending at the rectosigmoid junction. Fine. So it is 3.8 centimeter long. It is directed downward and backward. The anus is surface opening of the anal canal situated above the 4 centimeter below and in front of the tip of the coccyx. So what are the relation of the anal canal? So anteriorly in both sexes, the perineal body is common. In male, the membranous urethra and the penile bulb, and in females, the lower end of the vagina. In the posteriorly, it is the anococcygeal ligament and the tip of the coccyx in both the sexes. And laterally, the ischio-anal fossa and all around the anal canal is surrounded by the sphincter muscle. Okay, the tone of which keeps the anal canal closed. Now, interior of the anal canal is very important in view of the hemorrhoids also. So it is having the three parts: the upper, middle, and the lower mucous part. The upper mucous part, so it is 15 millimeter long. It is lined by the mucous membrane, which is endodermal in origin. So it is showing 6 to 10 vertical ridges or the anal columns of the Morgagni. Fine. So the lower ends of the anal columns are united to each other to form the anal wall. Means lower ends of the anal columns. Okay, these are having the series of the mucosal fold known as the anal wall. And above each wall there is a depression known as the anal sinus. And the anal walls together form the transverse line. And this line is known as the pectinate line or dentate line. Then middle part, or it is also known as the transitional zone or pecten because it is lying below the pectinate line. So it is also 15 millimeter long at the upper part, and so and the anal canal is also lined by the along with this it is also lined by the mucous membrane, and mucosa is less mobile than in the upper part of the anal canal, and this is referred to as pecten or transition zone. So the lower limit of the pecten often has a whitish appearance known as the white line of the Hilton. And the lowest part is the cutaneous part, which is 8 millimeter long and is lined by the true skin containing the sebaceous gland. So it is total 3.8 centimeter long, 15, and 8 in length. So you can see this diagram here. Okay. So this is the upper end of the anal canal. Lower end is the rectum. So you can see the longitudinal folds. Okay, so these are known as the anal column, and the lower end you can see. So lower end is having the pectinate line due to the mucosal fold known as the anal wall, and above each anal wall there is a depression known as the anal sinus, right? So this is the uppermost part. The middle part, that is the transitional zone, is known as the pecten. Fine. So this lower end of this is having the whitish line known as the white line of the Hilton. Fine. And this is having it is adherent. The mucus is adherent to the submucosal tissue very tightly as compared to the upper part. And the lowest part is the 8 millimeter in long, which is continuous with the skin. Okay. So this is a coronal section through the anal canal. So you can see how the inner circular and outer longitudinal muscles are extending downward, okay, going inside to cover the anal canal. Fine. And you can see the external anal sphincter, which is having the voluntary control, and those muscles coming from the rectum, they are having the playing the role of the internal anal sphincter. Okay. So we'll see again this the anal sphincter. The internal anal sphincter is involuntary in nature and it surrounds the upper 3/4, that is 3 centimeter of the anal canal, extending from upper end of the canal to the white line of Hilton. So you can see here how this inner thicker muscle, okay, the thick layered muscle on the inside is only extending up to the white line of the Hilton, and it is extending from the inner circular muscles of the rectum. The external anal sphincter is under voluntary control. It is made up of the striated muscle, that is skeletal muscle, and is supplied by the inferior rectal nerve. Okay, and it surrounds the whole length of the anal canal and has three parts, that is subcutaneous, superficial, and deep. Then the external anal sphincter forms the single functional and anatomic entity. The uppermost fibers blend with the fibers of the puborectalis. You can see the puborectalis muscle is there, okay, which is smaller projection from at the junction of the rectum and the anal canal. So this upper part of the external sphincter is fusing with that, okay, and you can see the parts of the external anal sphincter, the upper, middle, and the lower part. The lower part is the superficial, upper part is the deeper one. So lower part you can see it is subcutaneous around the lowest part of the anal canal. And the middle fibers are attached to the perineal body anteriorly. Okay, so this perineal body is very important structure in the perineum, which is pyramidal in shape, and it is attached to various muscles of the lower part of the perineum, or the pelvic cavity. Okay, which is these muscles are giving the strong support to the pelvic organs like bladder, urine bladder, uterus, and the rectum. Okay, so lower fibers are lying below the level of internal anal sphincter, that is, they are subcutaneous. Then the conjoined longitudinal cord is there. It is formed by the fusion of puborectalis with the longitudinal muscle cord of the rectum at the anorectal junction. So it is lying between the external and internal sphincters. Okay, it is not shown here, but it is, you can see the puborectalis muscle is near the longitudinal coat of the muscle coat of the rectum. So it is forming the ring around the anorectal junction. Okay, anorectal ring, it is formed by the fusion of puborectalis, uppermost fiber of external sphincter, and internal sphincter. Okay, so if it is cut, okay, surgically if it is cut, it can lead to the rectal incontinence. What is the arterial supply? The anal canal above the pectinate line is supplied by the superior rectal artery. Okay, and the part below the pectinate line is supplied by the inferior rectal artery. Again, there is the portocaval anastomosis, and the venous drainage is internal rectal vein plexus drain mainly into the superior rectal vein. Okay, but communicate with the middle and the inferior rectal veins. The internal plexus is therefore an important site of communication between portal and caval or systemic vein. The external rectal venous plexus lies outside the muscular cord of the rectum and anal canal. The external plexus is drained by the inferior rectal vein, by the middle rectal vein, and superior one. The lymphatic drainage, so it is above the part above the pectinate line is drained by the rectum into the internal iliac node, and below the pectinate line into the medial group of the superficial inguinal lymph nodes. Fine. And the no supply. So above the pectinate line, anal canal is supplied by the autonomic nerve, that is sympathetic inferior hypogastric plexus. Okay, that is derived from the first and the second lumbar segment, and the parasympathetic obviously from the pelvic splanchnic, that is second to fourth sacral segment, and the pain sensation is carried by both of them. And below the pectinate line, it is supplied by the somatic nerve, that is inferior rectal nerve from second to fourth sacral spinal segment. So internal sphincter is caused to contract by the sympathetic fiber. Okay. So and it is relaxed by the parasympathetic nerve. And the external sphincter is supplied by the inferior rectal nerve and by perineal branch of the fourth sacral nerve. So we'll see the development, how the rectum and the anal canals are developing. So there is a primitive anorectal canal, okay, which is forming the lower part of the rectum and the proximal part of the anal canal. So its distal part of the anal canal is formed by the proctodeum. So there are the two structures, which are the primitive anorectal canal and the proctodeum. Fine. So proctodeum is giving rise to the distal part of anal canal, and upper part of anal canal, and the lower part of the rectum is derived from the anorectal canal. So here we can see the anal canal is there upper 15 millimeter. Okay, that is above the pectinate line. This developing from the primitive anorectal canal, as we seen in last slide, and lower part is from the below the pectinate line is from the ectodermal invagination. Again, that is proctodeum. So guys, so what is the applied aspect? Very important for the anal canal and the rectum. The piles or the hemorrhoid. So these are the saccular dilatation of the internal rectal venous plexus. Okay, so they occur above the pectinate line, and therefore they are the painless. So primary piles or hemorrhage is occurring at mainly 3, 7, and 11 o'clock position of the anal canal. When you are watching from below, okay, then this position is there, not from above, but from below. And the external piles occur below the pectinate line, which are pain sensitive, therefore they are painful. And there is a condition known as the fissure in ano. So anal fissure is caused by the rupture of one of the anal walls, okay, that we have seen at the level of the pectinate line. So it is usually done by the passage of the dry hard stool in the constipated person. So you can see the position of the hemorrhoid, the large dilated veins in all these positions, and there are also the smaller piles also there, but the larger are more common to bleed whenever there is the constipation is there. Okay, so this view is from below when the patient is lying in the supine position and you are standing toward the leg of the patient. Fistula in ano. The fistula, what is meant by the fistula? Fistula is a tract, okay, the abnormal tract which is lined by the mucosa and open at both the end. Fine. So this is abnormal epithelialized tract connecting two cavities. So it can extend from the anus to maybe to the urinary bladder, or it may also open on the surface, or that is on the skin, okay, or any other part of the small intestine or large intestine, which are hanging in the pelvic cavity. So how it is formed? So it is formed by the spontaneous rupture of the abscess around the anus, and sometimes there may be some trauma happening there, so it can lead to that also. So this is the difference between the upper part and the lower part of the anal canal, that is above pectinate and below pectinate line. So with regard to the development, the upper part is from the hindgut and lower part from the proctodeum. The lining, there is a simple columnar epithelium, okay, and the lower part it is stratified columnar and stratified squamous. Means gradually they are changing from columnar to squamous. Okay, so this squamous you can see in the upper part of 50 millimeter. It is for the lower part, not for the upper part. It is just some printing mistake. Okay, then arterial supply of the mucosa. It is mainly from the superior rectal for the upper part, lower part from the inferior rectal. Venous drainage, okay, that's chiefly into the portal vein for the upper part and lower part into the systemic vein. Therefore, it is the site for the portocaval anastomosis. Fine. The lymph drainage, internal iliac lymph node and the superficial inguinal lymph node. They now supply, we already seen, okay, they are sensory to the ischemia and the distension and the spasm will occur, okay, but here can be painful when to touch temperature and the pressure. And the pile, the internal pile and the external pile. So now you got above the pectinate line, the dilatation of these rectal venous plexus are known as the internal piles, which are painless. Bleeding will occur, but there will be no pain. And external piles, the bleeding with the pain will happen there. Thank you very much.